Yo, what's up, boys and girls? Swolelax here, and I'm back at it again with the video. Something a little bit different. Today, we are finally here. That's right. We have constructed, finished testing, and ordered all of the cards inside of our new, updated, super fresh, crazy clean Cyber Dragon deck. So I'm here to profile this one for you guys. It's actually really fun. It's one of my favorite decks that I've been testing and playing with for a while. I've been doing a few ones recently. Got Heroes, obviously Neospatians, that new support, and then Cyber Dragon support, the new stuff that we got actually a while back at this point. However, it's been crazy fun, and I'm loving it a lot. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. There's gonna be a small thing that you may notice with this deck out the gate, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there, I guess. So first things first, we got 3 copies of Cyber Dragon. Now, Cyber Dragon is a key player into this deck for a lot of reasons. Obviously, this is the focal point of this deck since way back in the day. We got these new upgraded rarities, which look gorgeous, by the way. In addition to that, I love how it's just kind of a timeless card for a lot of reasons. Not only is it a great side deck option, or a great side deck option recently against a lot of the extra deck shenanigans that you can do, but in addition to that, it's also just a great card to have. You can special summon it out from your hand. You don't need to tribute summon for it. You can tribute summon for it if you want to. And it's just a strong monster. It's a really solid card. Like that a lot. So 3 of those for sure. It's actually, surprisingly enough, one of the monsters, the OG era, I guess, of when its archetype was conceived that actually still plays a considerable amount of those cards. So that's really nice. Next, we got 3 copies of Cyber Dragon Core. So Cyber Dragon Core is also an oldie but a goldie. It is essentially, with this card, running 3 of it is a nice search inside this deck. You can, whenever it's normal summoned, you can, you have to, excuse me, that's actually important. You have to add a Cyber Dragon spell or trap card to your hand. So the reason why that's important, why I say you have to, is because it's not a when you can or when you decide. Essentially, yeah, when this is card summoned or if this card summoned, you have to add the card to your hand. It activates the effect on summon. So if it's going to get Ash Blossomed or you make a chain, then there you go. Do be wary of that. However, it is such a great card to have because of that search. You can search cards like the new Monster Reborn, Cyber Rev system, Cyber Repair Plant for the search, Cyber Emergency now, which is incredible. So, and also a really great card. It counts as Cyber Dragon on the field and in the graveyard, so obviously it goes into plays right there. This card is great. So 3 of those. Next, I'm running 3 copies of Cyber Dragon Herds. Cyber Dragon Herds is the new Cyber Dragon card that came out in, I believe it was Cybernetic Horizon. And with this card, it's a level 1, so you can obviously go and play like with Link Karibo if you want to. I don't personally do it, but hey, whatever. Anyways, it has 2 effects, and you can only activate 1 of them once per turn, or else this card would be actually really insane. When it's special summoned, you can make it a level 5 monster, so you can go into plays like Nova, you can overlay into things like that, or, and most importantly, probably the effect you're going to be using the most often, when it's sent to the graveyard, kind of like Shadow Mist, you can search a Cyber Dragon from your deck to your hand. So that's actually a really great search card for Cyber Dragon. So Cyber Dragon Core searches the Cyber Dragon spell and trap cards, and this card searches Cyber Dragon. That is incredible. In addition to that, it counts as Cyber Dragon on the field or in the graveyard as well. So you can go into plays with that. I'm running 3. And next, with the new Cyber Dragon cards, I'm running 1 copy of Cyber Dragon Veer, or Veer. Excuse me. So, Cyber Dragon Veer is actually just okay. Funny enough, you can run 2 of these cards inside the deck if you want to, because it can chain off itself. What this card allows you to do is, if a Cyber Dragon monster is normal summoned or special summoned, so Core, Hers, the normal Cyber Dragon, or even Veer, then you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position. It's essentially just free material for fusions, for links, whatever you want to say. However, it's interesting. Whereas the other cards can get plays started, can get combos going, and this card is more or less just a combo piece, more or less just an extender. So I'm perfectly comfortable running 1 of these cards, especially because it is also treated as Cyber Dragon on the field or in the graveyard. So yeah, it's just kind of, it's good, but not that great. I think 2 is the maximum you should play of this card. However, if you are kind of tighter on a budget and you need more Cyber Dragon targets, I recommend running Veer. And that's going to be it for the Cyber Dragons. I'm actually not running Dre. I'm not running any of those cards because, look, I know that a lot of people say Dre is pretty good and having the level 5 thing is great, but I think having the least amount of normal summonable Cyber Dragons is probably best. In addition to that, Hers and Core are just better normal summons. Anyways, on with the next one. 1 copy of Cyber-Eltinin. Cyber-Eltinin is actually a really nutty card inside this deck for a few reasons. It is searchable inside this deck, so it's a searchable destruction if you really need it. In addition to that, it looks gorgeous in its upgraded rarity. But it's just a nice board clear to have. No need to be running more than 1, honestly. And if you don't even have to run this card if you don't want to, I just personally like it. It's a personal preference of mine. So I'm running 1 of those. And next, we have 3 cards that are a definite 3 of inside this deck, and that's 3 copies of Galaxy Soldier. Galaxy Soldier is nutty into this deck. So what Galaxy Soldier allows you to do is you can discard a light monster from your hand, and you can special summon this card in defense position. When it's special summoned, then you can add another Galaxy Soldier, or technically Galaxy Monster, to your hand. So you can special summon them out, search the second one, and then because that special summoning effect is not a once per turn effect, you can then discard another light monster for this Galaxy Soldier and special summon them out. So essentially it's a 1 card Nova, 1 card Infinity, what have you. Incredibly powerful, insanely good, and a definite 3 of. Next, onto the hand traps of the deck, we are playing 2 copies of Effect Filer and 2 copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. So essentially these slots are just reserved for your hand traps that you want to run inside the deck. So if you want to replace this one with Ash Blossom, with Droll, go for it. I personally like these 2 cards, and Effect Filer is actually just a really nice alternative to Infinite Permanence. It's just a cheaper budget version. 8 times out of 10, they're going to do the exact same thing. So I like having Effect Filer there. Plus, they're both light monsters, so you can have them be, they synergize really well with stuff like Galaxy Soldier. So I like that quite a bit. But you can replace those slots with any type of hand traps that you need. And that's going to be it for the monsters. Let me know what you guys think of it in the comments down below. Next, we're going to go into the spell cards. And so here's where that thing kind of came up. The reason why it took me so long to make this deck and to make this profile was because I was waiting on 1 card in particular, Cyber Emergency. And, it was really funny because I was like, okay, Cyber Emergency is a great card. It's a definite 3 of inside the deck. I can't not make this deck without it. And I didn't have it until I ordered it. And I ordered it, but it didn't come in. So I'm like, whatever. We're going to do it live. These proxies. But regardless, this slot is reserved for 3 copies of Cyber Emergency. Cyber Emergency is such a great searcher inside this deck for a few different reasons. Not only is it searchable off of cards like Cyber Dragon Core, you can also add a light machine monster that can't be normal summoned or set to your hand, or you can add a Cyber Dragon monster to your hand. So that can be Core, Hers, Cyber Dragon, Veer, Dre, whatever. You can add those to your hand with this card. It's non-exclusive to just Cyber Dragon. Absolutely incredible. In addition to that, if this card gets Ash Blossomed, or say Trigate Wizard if it's negated, then you can discard a card and add this card back to your hand for later. So it has its like little rotating recycling effect you have out. Plus, in addition to that, it's just a great search. It's adds so much consistency to this deck. It's incredible, and I'm still upset that it didn't come in time for this video. Something was wrong with the vendor or blah blah blah, what have you. But anyways, let's not dwell on the past or what will and may not or may not get here in 6 to 8 business days, whatever. Let's go ahead and move on to 2 copies of Cyber Repair Plant. So Cyber Repair Plant used to be a 3 of them inside this deck because similar to Cyber Emergency, it was the Searcher. But now, since you do have cards like Cyber Emergency out in the world, I think having 2 copies of Cyber Repair Plant is perfectly fine. Essentially, if you have a Cyber Dragon inside your graveyard, then you can add a light machine monster to your hand. So incredibly versatile card. However, it does require a little bit of setup. So Cyber Emergency just barely beats it out, but still a great card nonetheless. And yeah, so still really good. So 2 of those. Next, I'm running 2 copies of Power Bond, 2 copies of Instant Fusion, or 2 copies of Overload Fusion, excuse me, and 2 copies of Instant Fusion. So 2 copies of Power Bond because I feel like this card is still really useful inside of 2018. This card is a super old card. It's kind of back in the day, harkens back to the Machine Monster Fusion decks with Cyber Dragons and blah 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 blah. But it's still incredibly powerful. You can churn out some really beefy boys with it, most notably the Chimeratech Rampage Dragon, which is one of my favorite plays to go into. In addition to that, you have Overload Fusion, which can also go into Chimeratech Rampage Dragon, so on and so forth. But it utilizes cards inside your graveyard. So if your graveyard set up and you have this card in your hand, you can special summon that card out. Incredible. And then Instant Fusion, in terms of these fusion cards is also really great. So what you can do with this card, you can summon out cards like Panzer Dragon, which is another target for your rank 5 plays going into your Cyber Dragon Nova and Cyber Dragon Infinity. So I'm running just 2 of each of these cards. You could potentially limit them or go less, go more, depending on your budget, depending on what you feel comfortable with. But personally speaking, I like it at those ratios. Next on with the 2-ofs, we got 2 copies of Machine Dupe. This card, I don't think it's good enough to run at 3 because if you open up more than just one of them, it can sometimes get a little bit weird in terms of its combo-y, I guess. But however, it is still a really great card, and you would be a fool not to run it because you have cards like hers now and Cyber Dragon Core, which can really, really play well off this card, especially because you can use both of them to summon out your Cyber Dragons and get a free rank 5. So that card is insane in some cases. So I'm only running 2. Next, we got 2 copies of Twin Twisters. This card is great for whenever you discard stuff like hers to the graveyard to get a search. But in addition to that, hit some back row. This deck does like to go second, so having those back row destruction cards is really helpful, especially with the OTKs. And next, I got 2 drones. This card is insane. I keep on saying that for a lot of different cards, but I actually mean it whenever I talk about the Sky Striker engine, the Sky Striker Hornet drones. If you've been living under a rock, if you don't know what these cards do, they're nutty. The Sky Striker engine is one of the most versatile things you can splash in almost any type of deck that needs just extra material, needs extra monsters. These things just churn out stuff so well. It's absolutely broken. This one card here can essentially get you to summon 4 monsters outside the extra deck. It's incredible. Plus, it not being a once per turn card, it's not very limited that way. I'm only running 2 because, let's say, if you run 3, it can kind of clog up your deck sometimes where you want to see more Cyber Dragon cards. So 2 copies is a nice, versatile card that you can get to. It's great. And in addition to that, if you want to remove some cards from other cards in the main deck and run, like, let's say, Engage if you have the extra money, or let's say Afterburner if you really want to. I've been seeing Sky Striker Cyber Dragons be a pretty viable rogue strategy nowadays. Absolutely great. And Hornet Drones is one of the best cards inside of the entire Sky Striker lineup. So highly recommend. This card is so good. I love it so much. Next on to the 1-ofs, we got 1 copy of Foolish Burial. This card is a nice flex card. You can take cards like Cyber Dragon Hers, put them in the graveyard if you need to set up for Overload Fusion. It's just a nice versatile card. 1 copy of Monster Reborn, because that card's nuts. And 1 copy of Cyber Rev System. So Cyber Rev System is the newest non-once per turn Monster Reborn inside of this deck. So essentially what this card does and what it reads is that you can special summon 1 Cyber Dragon, is this monster? No, one Cyber Dragon from your hand and or graveyard, and it cannot be destroyed by card effects. That, in a vacuum and on paper, sounds spectacular. However, in practice, it's a little less cool than that. And the reason why I say that is because initially, I know how that sounds. Initially, I was like, oh man, this card's insane. Why isn't everyone running 3 of them? It's a definite 3 of, it's a 2 of. And then now I'm like, it's maybe a 2 of, because listen, you don't necessarily want to see more than 1 of these cards inside of your hand at all times. You could potentially want to see 2 in given scenarios, but I want to say like 9 times, 8 times out of 10, you're gonna be you're essentially just want to search this card, and that's it. It's a combo extender. It's not really a combo piece. It's not necessarily a combo starter either. In addition to that, it's not like Monster Reborn or like Soul Charge or like anything else where you can special summon other monsters besides just Cyber Dragon from the graveyard or from your hand. So play around with it, see what you guys feel comfortable with. I personally think 2 maximum for this card. 1 copy in testing and 1 copy that I've been playing. It has suited me so well so far. And if you have that Monster Born in there for that second special summoning, if you definitely need it. And then that's going to be it for the spell cards. Actually, we're going to go on to the 2 trap cards inside this deck, and I think you guys already know what it is. And that's 2 copies of Cybernetic Overflow. Cybernetic Overflow, initially I was against, so I was super for Cyber Rev System, and then in testing, Cybernetic Overflow just actually performed crazy well. It's weird to hear me say that because initially I was like, hey, it's kind of okay, it's whatever, but Cybernetic Overflow essentially allows you to do is from the hand, deck, and or graveyard, you can banish Cyber Dragons with different levels and then destroy cards on your opponent's side of the field for how many you banished. So it's non-targeting destruction, and that is it's crazy. It's a trap card. Like, I get why it had to be a trap card, because if that was a spell card, that'd be way too good. Imagine all those fast plays you can make with Cyber Dragons at that point. But as a trap card, it's still not bad, especially because of its secondary effect. If it's destroyed by card effect, let's say e.g. Twin Twisters, or if it's negated and then destroyed, then you can add a cyber spell or trap card to your hand, including Cybernetic Overflow if you wanted to. So it's good search. It has nice destruction, and also it's just good. It's just actually a really good card. In addition to that, it has, I kind of wish it was a higher rarity, just because the card artwork is just gorgeous. I love it. I love it so much. So yeah, it's just a really good card. So 2 of those. So I've seen some people run 3, some people run just 1 of them. I personally think 2 to 3 is a great ratio for it. So yeah, highly recommend. And that's gonna be it for the main deck, guys. Let me know what you guys think of it in the comment section down below. It is a nice and clean, nice and lean 40 cards. I personally like these cards a lot. This kind of deck ratio and style, I really jive with. However, if you guys don't, if you want to add, let's say, you know, your kaiju monsters, then you can. If you want to take out some of the hand traps, add different ones, go for it. If you want to take out the Sky Striker engine entirely, I completely understand. I know a lot of people don't like that engine. A lot of people are like, oh, it's kind of lame, but I really like it, and I think it really extends plays and kind of furthers your ability that you can do with the side of this deck. But with that being said, let's go ahead and go on to the extra deck. It's a nice and tight 15 cards, and by tight, I mean this is barely any room for wiggle. And it's kind of crazy, but we'll go ahead and start off with the fusion monsters. We got 1 copy of Panzer Dragon. This card is your instant fusion target, being a level 5 machine monster. We got 1 copy of Chimeratech Rampage Dragon. Again, another level 5 machine monster that you can use for Nova or Infinity. However, it's also just a crazy nutty card for instant fusion, for Power Bond or Overload fusion. Plus, it has a destruction of spell cards, which I really like. It can attack multiple times. It's just a really great card, and I've already made a video talking about why I think this card is better than Cyber Twin Dragon, and I stand by that to this very day. You will not see Cyber Twin Dragon inside this deck today. Spoilers. 1 copy of Chimeratech Fortress Dragon. This card is incredible for just getting rid of miscellaneous machine monsters, or just kind of cleaning up some high powerful monsters they need to get rid of. In addition to that, if you're playing against ABCs, you can just soup up all their monsters and then transform into that dude. It's kind of nuts. Next, we got 2 copies of Chimeratech Mega Fleet Dragon. This card is the MVP of this deck, and I mean that. In particular, just because there's so much extra deck shenanigans that you got going on right now with like the U-boards and just extra deck, the link zones and extra deck zones are just so important inside of this format. So Chimeratech Mega Fleet Dragon just takes that and is like, all right, give me your monsters. So essentially what you can do is this card takes a Cyber Dragon and then 1+ extra deck monster zone cards. So let's say you get U-boarded. Essentially whenever your opponent has a card here, linked and it's extra linked all the way around into the next monster zone. So you're blocked out of your monster zone. Well, special summon or normal summon your Cyber Dragon monster, and then you can take both of those in the extra monster zones and drop down one of these bad boys for a nice and clean 3600. So it's technically, it can't become as powerful as, say, something like Chimeratech Fortress Dragon. However, the summoning mechanics are so much more generic. It's a really well-designed card because of that. I feel like it's nice and fair, and it also kind of rewards you in a weird way for playing the deck as you would. And let's say it's a side deck option where you have this card and Cyber Dragon in a totally different deck for getting rid of those cards. It's just incredible. I think this card is great. It's one of my favorite cards come out of the Cyber Dragon support in the last couple years. So there's that, and that's going to be the fusion cards I am running. Next, we got 1 copy of Constellar Pleiades for your start off your XYZ monsters. Go for the bounce, super good. 2 copies of Cyber Dragon Nova. This card has a few good effects, but in particular, you can special summon Cyber Dragons from the graveyard, and you can also overlay it into its bigger, badder boss monster form of Cyber Dragon Infinity. So Cyber Dragon Infinity is one of the best boss monsters to ever come out of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's incredible. And the reason why I say that is you can summon it super easily with overlaying it on top of Cyber Dragon Nova. In addition to that, you can take your opponent's monsters, you can negate effects, spell, trap, monster, what have you. It's gone, destroyed, bye-bye, see you later, no redo. It's just a great card. So it's kind of interesting to get around because if your opponent has the card set up, let's say they try to manipulate it to where you negate an effect and they Solemn Strike whenever you negate the effect, then cool, then they got it. But they have to actually play around it and waste a lot of cards and a lot of resources to be able to get over this boss monster. In addition to that, you can special summon it back with plenty of other cards. You can boost it with attack points. That card is fantastic. I don't necessarily think I need to sing its praises any higher, but oh man, it's so good. Next on the Link Monsters, we got one copy of Sky Striker Ace Shizuku, one copy of Hayate, one of the new Sky Striker cards, also one of my favorite card arts, and then the MVP of the Sky Striker engine, Kagari. So Kagari is absolutely nuts. So like I said with the Sky Striker card, Sky Striker Hornet Drones, you can special summon 4 monsters out of this extra deck in just one turn, and these are 3 of them. So we have Shizuku, Hayate, and Kagari. Kagari in particular is being the first card you can special summon, because what happens is that when you special summon out Kagari, then you can add back your Hornet Drones from your graveyard to your hand and then use your Hornet Drones again. Insane. Really, really good, especially because Hornet Drones is non-once per turn, so you can kind of just keep on going with that. Hayate can attack directly, super good. And then Shizuku decreases your opponent's monsters' attack points, so that's fantastic. In addition to that, it can also add a Sky Striker card from your deck to your hand if it's left out on the field during the end phase. So, those cards I really like. Personally, these and Hornet Drones are some of the most affordable, great generic splash engines you can put inside of any type of deck that you see fit. It's so much material and so much advantage you can gain from it. I love it. And then next we got one copy of Cleafor Genius. So I said there was 4 cards you can special summon from this extra deck with just 1 card. And there you go. That's the last one. Cleafor Genius is kind of nice. So what you can do is you can negate an effect monster you control, target and negate a monster your opponent controls. In addition to that, it's unaffected by spells, it's unaffected by trap cards, and if monsters are summoned to the link monsters, link zones it points to, pointing diagonal down, then you can add a card from your deck to your hand. That's incredible. It's actually a really low-key great card and only requires 2 machine monsters. I actually have a combo utilizing that effect in the description down below. It's a Cyber Dragon combo. I call it the Insane Truesdale. It just creates an incredible board that can get kind of wiped out with a few particular cards, but that's neither here nor there. Anyways, it's incredible. I really like this card a lot. Recommend it. And then finally, one copy of Cyber Dragon Sieger. So Sieger is essentially, Sieger translates to victor, champion, or winner in German. And this card is great. So not great enough to run more than 1, kind of similar to a lot of the Cyber Dragon cards. But it can boost attack points. Its link arrows are really helpful and really useful. So you can summon out a Nova and an Infinity along with it and boost that attack points. And in addition to that, it counts as Cyber Dragon on the field. Another great addition. I think that they did right with this link monster, especially with an archetype-specific link monster that boosts attack points, going for those OTKs, and also kind of helping with the special summoning in terms of its link arrows. So I like this card a lot. It's really cool. Plus, the card art is super sick. It joins the Sick Art Card Club in my book. But yep, that's pretty much it. But what do you guys think of the Cyber Dragon deck? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I really like this deck. I think it's, in my opinion, one of the most consistent, most insane rogue deck strategies, and it's also really budget, so to speak, outside of cards like Cyber Emergency, Cyber Rev, which are a little more expensive right now. However, if you're able to get your hands on them, if you're able to play it, then by all means, try it out. Try out this deck. It's so much fun. Take it to locals, take it to regionals. I've been seeing Sky Striker, Cyber Dragons pop up everywhere, and I can definitely see why. What do you guys think of Cyber Dragons? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you guys like them? Do you guys hate them? Do you love playing them? Whatever. Let me know what you guys think of the cards, what you guys think of this deck profile, or any suggestions or any type of text that you guys may have. I saw a bunch of them while I was playing online against people who are also playing Cyber Dragon. So there's a lot of variations, a lot of plays you can make with this build. So let me know in the comments down below. If you guys like the video, make sure to leave a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. Got more videos coming to the pipeline, so stay tuned for that if you want to. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Peace out.